I am so excited that you are here with me today to talk about Say No November and just reflecting on the change that we made throughout the 30 days. So in November, we said no to 30 things, and these built upon each day as we progressed along. So we talked about small daily habits. We talked about boundaries and balance. We talked about mindset shifts. And then we ended up with big life choices. So with those 4 different areas, there were different no's that we said, because what we were attempting to do was change ourselves, because we know as we see ourselves, that is how we're going to see the world around us. So in order to change what we see on the outside, we have to change on the inside. So saying no to certain things helped us change how we see our day to day. And what was the biggest no that resonated the most with you? Let me know in the comments, because I think there were so many for me, but definitely saying no to scrolling really was a loud one for me. Definitely saying no to procrastination, and then just getting into things where knowing that where I am right now does not negate where I can go. So just because of my age, because I'm in midlife right now, doesn't mean that I can't accomplish more things, doesn't mean that I can't dream big and have even more aspirations for myself, doesn't mean that I can't learn something new. It also doesn't mean that I can't refine what skills I already have and make them even better. So just looking at saying no and how that gives us the power back to our own life progression. Because a lot of times as moms, what happens to us is we feel like we have to nurture everybody because that is a mothering instinct. But then we also feel like we have to say yes all the time. Like if somebody asks us to head up a committee, or somebody asks us to help out with some sports team that our kid is on, or somebody needs us to take them somewhere, all of that, because we're nurturing and we're giving, we want to say yes all the time. However, saying no gives us the right to make our own schedule. It gives us the right to actually not put anything else on our plate if we're already at that point where we have enough, or we're even feeling overwhelmed. Saying no allows us that thinking space so that we can have a moment of clarity and say, this is what I need for me, so I can feel like I am being productive and be productive and accomplish things that I've had on my plate for 6 months. Because what was happening to me, and I can just speak for myself, is I had a lot of goals and aspirations for 2025 that I wanted to get done. And in order for me to reach those goals, there were things that I couldn't do. But I had to allow myself the room and the grace to say no, but also refuse to feel guilty about it, because that's the other thing that becomes a challenge when we say no. It's like, if I say no to this person is going to feel bad, or this need is not going to be met, and I feel guilty about that. But saying no without the guilt is what we need to do. That's how we take back our own power, and that's how we become more in the driver's seat of accomplishing our goals and putting ourselves first, putting our dreams back in the forefront. Because when you're growing up and you're like doing that transition from like high school to college, or college to like graduate school, or college to a professional career, or high school to a career, when you're doing those big transitions, it's like those goals are hitting you in the face. And when you're that age, like you're in your 20s and 30s, and you're just trying to make things happen and trying to establish like the path that you're going to take in life, and trying to answer those big questions like, am I going to get married? Who am I going to marry? Is this the right person to marry? All of that, all of those things are, am I going to live here? Where am I going to stay? Am I going to live in a house? Am I going to live in an apartment? Like those questions are huge. And every day you're faced with something like that. As we continue to get older and mature, some of those things are already established in our life, but that doesn't mean that the questions that we have to ask ourselves and the goals we have are any less important. Yes, we may stay in a house for 10 years and not move, so we don't have that question of where am I going to stay or where am I going to work, because we've been a professional at this career for as long, for a length of time. But as we continue to do things and move forward, what we have to understand is our goals and our dreams and our aspirations are still that important. So what I want you to do is, if you didn't or see all of the say no's, or some of them you need to review, I'm going to link the playlist below and definitely go back and listen to those. But I want to encourage you to still say no throughout December, January, February. Like, as you continue, look back on those no's and say, which one am I not focusing in on? Where am I falling back into my old patterns? Because it's so easy. We've been saying yes for so long, trying to train ourselves to rethink our answers and actually think about, do I have the capacity to do this? Do I want to do this? Is this something that is getting me closer to where I want to be? Is it allowing me to become closer with my family? Is it giving me some progress in my professional career? All of those things. But we have to have that list that is important to us in our head when somebody poses a question for us. So already knowing where your values lie, already knowing who you are, helps with you being able to say no easier without the guilt and without the regret. So I will link that playlist below, but I also created a PDF with all the no's listed. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. Just say yes to the PDF, and then I'll be able to get it to you. So then I know you're interested in that. But if you like this video, that would be wonderful, because then other people that need to say no will be able to see it. And then if you haven't already subscribed, because a lot of you are watching these videos and I love it, and I love the transformation and the change that's happening because you're letting me know in the comments. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and mark that notification bell, because I will continue to put out this great content that helps us with our personal development, our ability to accomplish tasks and accomplish our goals and move forward as we go into next year. I'm so excited. I have a lot in store for Reality with Shanna, so I hope you continue to follow along, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.